Let's do it.
Well, Ted, the last time you were with me, you needed a little bit of an introduction. Here we are. You've been campaigning for 6 months now.
About
little introductions needed. You've run NFL playoff ads. You've been to a ton of counties. I'm guessing all 102.
Not yet, but a lot of them for sure.
Do you know how many counties you've been to?
I think it's like almost 70.
Yeah.
And we're still trying to get to the rest of them. But
I bet you can tell stories.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun.
So today, usually this is kind of an informal podcast. I wear quarter zips and T-shirts, and my guests are kind of the same.
Today, nice,
look at this. We're buttoned up.
A thin tie, too.
We had the governor's State of the State address. Man, a lot to unpack. Here we are, his 8th State of the State address. Every single one, more spending, more taxes.
Record spending.
I'm ready for the Dabrowski State of the State address where we can hear some common sense.
I think it'd be a little different. One, it wouldn't be so long. That's something I promise. When they get too long, they lose their meaning, right?
Sure.
But I tell you what's interesting to me is that I've listened to a lot of budget speeches over the last 15 years, and here's what I've learned, especially under Pritzker: nothing new, just record spending and new taxes, and there's nothing you can really take away from these speeches because there's a lot of platitudes and all that. And so what I've stopped doing is I stopped looking at the line items. Of course, I look at them from an analysis standpoint, but from like talking about it. I mean, we could talk about all the different things he's wanting to do. I just go to 7 years he's been as governor. What are the results today under his leadership?
That's right.
It's a long time. 7 years is a long time. And when you look at the facts, and here they are, we're a bottom 5 state under Pritzker. After 7 years, if you look at economic growth, we're the 5th worst in the country. If you just look at the total economic growth over that entire period, 5th worst in the country. If you look at job growth, 5th worst in the country. If you look at wage growth, 6th worst in the country. And those are the things that matter to people. Is our economy growing enough where I can get a good job, a good paying job? I have mobility if I want to find something different. Are we competing with the rest of the country? And we're not. We are getting our butts kicked. And that's the bottom line. He can say whatever he wants in these things, but it's just a lot of malarkey.
That's right. And it's so hard to hear how poorly our state's being run because we have so many resources. Let's pick on Idaho. I don't have anything against the potato, and I'm sure they've got resources too.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Compared to us,
tourism,
population, river to the ocean, world's best farm ground, the O'Hare Airport. I mean, the lake. We've got so many
top 5
world-class secondary institutions, and it's like. If you just were going to come to America and pick a state, like let's say you're an oil magnate who's going to just buy a state, man, I'd probably buy Illinois.
It'd be one of them,
manufacturing, just so many things we got going for us, and instead, bottom 5 state.
Yeah. So it's tough to take a lot of the stuff he says. He's very dishonest. I mean, that's the bottom line. He's dishonest about so many things. We could even start with, he talks about education. I love to talk about education because if our kids can't read, nothing else matters. He talks about record graduation rates. What he didn't say is that every year the SAT scores in math under him have gone down, 7 years in a row. And record graduation, graduation rates up, math rates down. It's sad. If you look at the rates, they're really, really bad. And it's almost the same thing in reading as well, just a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, let's correct the record because in today's budget address, we hear that 8th graders are top of the world, right? We got the most impressive 8th graders, most impressive graduation rates. You've seen the data from his own agency. It's his own data.
Exactly.
And the truth is much different. So what's the truth?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I wish I had the numbers up right here, but if you look at the 8th grade, take the same numbers he's talking about. And let me say this, you can pick a few numbers from what's called the National Assessment of Educational Progress, NAEP scores. We'll do okay in some. The whole point, though, is that nobody in the country can read anymore. So we can be decent in a couple of numbers, but it's bad anyway. But if you take the black scores and the Hispanic scores in the 8th grade, math and reading, they're pathetic. You're talking about 16%, 8% in math. It's horrific. So he can say whatever he wants, but the reality is, for many of the kids we care about, it's dismal, sad, and he should sound an alarm about how bad things are and not celebrate anything in his speech.
The worst thing about it to me is it just takes away hope for progress. Because if you're not even willing to acknowledge that we have a problem, not only do you not think we have a problem, you think we're the shining star on the top of the hill, there's no way that we're going to get it fixed. And it's one thing to think about these things as percentages and data points. I think they can be a little hard to wrap your arms around and your mind around. I texted you about this. About 2 months ago, my wife and I did a tour of a local private Christian school, and this principal was telling us about how there's families that want to get their kids into the school, and they'll take a lot of people, but they're not going to take you if you're 5 years behind. So she has all these stories she was recounting to us about 13-year-olds coming in and can't read the word the or cat. I mean, very basic things. And the parents are saying, you know what, we'll just restart him over, put him in the first grade and teach him. Wow. And the teacher's like, that means he's driving as a fourth grader. Wow. I can't put a 16-year-old in a fourth grade class. Wow. And your heart just breaks for these kids, because what's the future for somebody at that age that cannot read 3-letter words? And here we are saying it's not a problem. I
mean, what's the future? But I think, and that is the ultimate, wow, what's the future and how do we help these kids? But I think just the fact that a governor could stand up there and be that dishonest and that, I don't know, aloof. I don't know what the right word is. Yeah. It's sad. By the way, I remember being in Decatur when I was there covering a lot of the problems that I've covered. And we found this mom, and she was right near the high school. And we approached her, and she said, I don't want to be interviewed, because we had cameras and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I said, all right, we'll cut off the cameras. But she told us that she moved to Texas, and she did. She didn't want anybody to. The reason she didn't want people to know is because she knows a lot of people in the community. She moved to Texas. She took her kids out because she said in the schools, all there was fighting, and they weren't learning anymore, and bullying, and so she just moved. She just happened to be in town that day. Mm-hmm. So it's sad, and that's where we are. So we have a huge work to do, and I know that's not a budget issue, but it is a budget issue, because if we're going to spend all the money that we do, and by the way, we spend the most in the Midwest, so we spend by far the most, $7,000 more per kid than in Indiana. If we're going to spend that much, we want great outcomes, right? Not subpar outcomes.
Yeah, and I think that's always been your point, right? Is that we're not saying to underfund kids, but what's the point of spending $30,000 a student when there's examples in Southern Illinois where they're spending $8,000?
Yeah.
What's the school down south that you love so much?
Yeah, you're talking about Aviston and Bartelso.
Yeah, Bartelso.
It's amazing. They were spending $8,000 a kid, the lowest in the state, and they had the highest reading scores. Yeah. It was just like, wow, how do you do that?
So what are they doing?
Well, this is family values. So it's amazing. It's I guess it's kind of a Germanic background from the population there. They're working class, white, family oriented, and they get together. They care about education. They're competitive, but they base a lot of their education on religion. So they have faith, family, and they care. And they get together and they make sure that if any kid's falling behind, boom, they go after it.
Yeah,
it's fascinating.
I'm sure it shocks a lot of people to hear that when you have a mom and a dad in the house, where we're getting the kid to church on Sunday, it's not a shocker that those kids are also excelling.
They even have services at the school 3 times a week before school. I mean, that's how serious they are. And so when you bring all that together, you're going to have kids that do well. And it's a great model, but that model will be called all kinds of names right now.
Yeah.
Family, what the heck are you talking about? Religion, faith.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's not rocket science, is it?
No.
I got a stat for you. I just found this out today. This is the 4th budget address I've sat through. I didn't know that it's prohibited for a governor to come out with a new budget address that is funded with new taxes. His budget initial budget is supposed to just be organic revenue growth. So this is his 8th budget address, 8 years, new taxes and spending. It's just like, even when there's the guardrail that you're not supposed to do that, he just can't help himself but go for a little bit more.
Yeah, it's for me, the whole process is bastardized. It's just grow everything like it, take the base and keep growing it. I've got nothing to say because it's not. There's no serious assessment. We could learn a lot from Chile and Milei, right? It's like he was saying, find the things that you shouldn't be doing, the government should not be doing, and cut it out, stop it, right? And then find the things that need to be done and do them well. Spend money on those. But what we do here is we cut a little. If we're in trouble, we cut 5% here, 5% there. In the end, they never cut because it's always a new record budget. So,
Yeah. So you've been doing this for, like we said, 5 or 6 months at this point. Campaigning's tough. You have good days and bad days, but sometimes you get those stories that just make it all worth it. And maybe it's a young kid that you inspired, or a sweet old lady who gave you $5 and you knew that the $5 from her was worth more than 1,000 from somebody else because it was a sacrifice. So I'd love to hear some of your heartwarming stories about just what keeps you cranking.
Well, I tell you what's amazing, and I'm pretty low key, right? Pretty low key, at least outwardly. I'm pretty intense inwardly. But
wouldn't it be nice to have a governor that just does the dang job and does it really well,
yes,
and doesn't need cameras?
And so I get it's really humbling for people to come up and they don't know me, but they've seen me whatever on social media or whatever, and they come and say, they really want me to be governor. They believe in me. They trust in me. I guess they've seen my data. They've maybe heard me on the radio. A lot of people who are up in the Chicago area have heard me on the radio for years. I was on one show every Tuesday, and so it's just so inspiring to have people say, "Hey, we want you there." We don't, they don't. So many people just don't like Pritzker, right? They don't like Pritzker. They don't like what he stands for. I said today my line when I did this press conference was, he's the son of billionaires. I'm the son of immigrants, and we have two different worldviews, right?
Mm-hmm.
His worldview, or he sees it the way he wants to see it. And I see it, son of immigrants, based in reality, based on the ground, what's happening on the ground. So, I think just being on the campaign trail and having people come up and wanting to put their trust in me, it's wow, it's a huge responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
It's humbling, but exciting at the same time.
I know when you were planning on doing this, one of the resources, assets that we knew that you had was your Spanish and Polish heritage and your ability to speak each of the languages. How's that manifested? I got to think, in a Republican primary, do you come across a lot of Hispanic and Polish speakers, and have you been able to use that?
Oh yeah, especially the Spanish side. So I've got an advisor in the Chicago area, he's called the pastor. Pastor's very well connected, evangelical pastor. So I've been going to churches on the weekends, mostly Hispanic, but I'll say more in a minute, mostly Hispanic, evangelical. And these people are so strong in their faith, so conservative, family-oriented, and they hate Pritzker. I mean, it's amazing because they are religious and they don't like all this stuff in the schools. They don't like the boys and girls sports. They don't like the abortion capital of the Midwest. They hate that. Of course, the suicide bill assisted suicide bill he just passed. They don't like that stuff. They want good values, good faith values. So I've been going around speaking in Spanish, and it's been great. A lot of churches, but I've also gone to the evangelical Filipino. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to get a lot of these endorsements. Evangelical Filipino, evangelical Romanian churches I've spoken in. So it's fantastic. So it's not just the Hispanic; it's the evangelical groups. And then separately, I'm Polish. Now, my Polish, my gosh, I haven't spoken in 18 years. And I said, my gosh, it's really rusty, really bad.
Uh-huh.
So I've tried
better than mine.
I've tried to fake it, but it's not very good. I have to really work
I bet
on
that
it.
they appreciate you can order off a menu and say, where's the bathroom?
Yeah, well, they do. But, the thing is, my Polish accent's decent. I'm not saying it's great, but it's decent. So you would think that I speak really well. So they're expecting me to be great. But so I've been, done some radio and done some TV and newspapers. So, and the thing you're talking about the Slavic side is that, these people escaped from Poland, or they escaped from Ukraine or from Romania, Bulgaria. They came to America for freedom, right? They love this country for what they came for. And now what they're seeing is we're becoming more and more socialistic. So they love seeing, a Ted Dabrowski running. They say, there's somebody who will champion the kind of freedom that we want in America, and who understands that nasty communism that was in Poland in the Soviet Union before.
Yeah, and I'm sure Polish is such a benefit. But when I think about Hispanic people, the words that come to mind are faith-based, hardworking, family-oriented.
Absolutely.
That's the DNA of what we're trying to do here. And it's so valuable to have somebody like you who can bridge the gap with legal immigrants, people that came here the right way, just like the Dabrowskis did, and say, hey, you left a country for a reason. We're not trying to turn the country that you came to into that same situation. We need somebody like you to make sure that happens.
Yeah, and that's what's fun. That's absolutely right, yeah.
Well, Ted, I'm so grateful for your time today. How can folks follow you, find you? I'm sure you're going to be covering the state.
Yeah, tedforillinois.com, and also Ted for Illinois on social, Twitter, Facebook. But we're going to keep doing more, and we're excited. And we're the ascendancy campaign. I think if you look at the campaigns, we're the one that's actually doing the most. And we've seen a couple of the other opponents start to duck the debates and stuff like that. So it's kind of weird. But we're out there. We're spending money on ads and getting our name ID up. I'm the outsider, of course, so have a lot of work to do. But we're having a lot of fun, and just want to keep. We got less than 30 days now, so go. Vote for Ted. Flip Illinois red. Vote for Ted. March 17th. I
like that.
Vote March 17th.
I like that.
And listen, we got to get people out to vote.
Yep.
We've got to get people out to vote. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for your. We're just under 4 weeks away from the primary. Mm-hmm. It's go time, man. You're doing such a good job growing in the polls, and you're the guy that can beat Pritzker. It's that simple. You are the guy that can beat Pritzker. And just an aside, my wife and I, we're just married 6 months ago. Looking forward to starting a family in Illinois. And when I think about raising kids in a state, you're the guy that I want to be the governor of that state. So we got to make it happen.
Travis, I appreciate that.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Ted. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.